Hey, what's happening, everybody? Robert Phoenix here. Just need to adjust a few things volume-wise. What's going on? I also need to. Let me be right back. I'll be right back. This is a critical moment here. All right. Yeah, that's much better. That's much better. It's looking a little less fuzzy now. All right. Hey, Cato, what's happening? Paulette, Tanya, 0 Dragon 14, 10 Dragon 14. Roger that. JMP, Cosmic Astrology in the house. Jersey's having their meeting on astrocartography and relocation. One of my specialties. I'm very into astrocartography and relocation. Man, I'm looking a little shaggy today. And I did do some grooming today, too. I got to step up the grooming game. Hey, what's happening, everybody? Robert Phoenix here. It is 12:25, and I feel a little hazy today. It's like, a little tired, I guess. How's everybody else feeling? How are you guys feeling? How's everybody's energy today? Let's check in. Jennifer, it's watching in the UK. Glad to get you live. Well, there's Joan. Hi, Joan. Look sharp. I need, I gotta step up the green. How are you? Oopsie daisy. Fabulous Friday. Good. There's Suze. What's going on, Suze? How's everybody's energy today? I'm curious. We've got some changes happening astrologically. We are on the Scorpio full moon. Ooh, it's intense. Intense full moon. You ever date anybody who has a Scorpio Scorpio moon in their chart? That's an interesting experience. I like people with Scorpio moons. They're intense, man. They're intense. If a person can master their Scorpio moon, it is a big deal in their lifetime. Because that Scorpio moon is an astrological journey for sure. Okay, so I have a personal anecdotal story about somebody who has a Scorpio moon that I dated for a few years, and a really fascinating person. And this was before I met her. She suffered a tragedy where her father. Well, I don't really want to get into like the family dynamics. It's like a little crazy. Her father died. Okay, so it spun her out. When people die in your life, it is a big deal. I mean, it is a really big deal, and not everybody handles it the same way. And there are these standard sorts of procedures that theoretically we're supposed to go through, and some of those do happen. But for a lot of people, the passing of a loved one, and at times even a pet can fall into that category. There's no new normal, right? There's a whole kind of new baseline and everything. So it's a very stressful and traumatic period when people move on and leave our lives. And the same can be said for relationships too, to a certain extent, because when you break up with somebody, you divorce somebody, that's a death of sorts, right? So anyway, she went through a very traumatic period and phase. And she was friends with a guy who was Indian, like, yoga, meditation, that kind of Indian, not Native American, East Indian. And they were kind of, lovers a little bit. And he said, I want you to go to India and go visit my family, because she was in this grieving phase. She said, okay, I'll go do that. So she went and visited his family, and she was there for about 6 months. And she wound up falling in love with his brother and actually marrying his brother in India, and had this like Indian life, intensely Indian life, for about 6 months. And then left India and never spoke to him again, and never spoke to really the brother who sent her over there. I mean, now you have to keep in mind this person was a Gemini too, okay? So she's dealing with the brothers. Really interesting. I love when astrology does this stuff. But that Scorpio moon landed her in this place where she had this intense union and bond for a brief period of time. And then when it was over, it was like it was over. It was almost like she dropped into this past life and lived it for about 6 months and then left again, and never to return to that past life ever again. Very, very fascinating stuff. Anyway, we're in a Scorpio moon now, and I'm feeling kind of intense. I don't have a lot of energy today. I'm trying to rev things up a little bit. Maybe I should do some pranayamic breathing. There we go. That'll work. Venus has gone into Taurus, Mars has gone into Cancer, so we've done some shifting astrologically, which isn't a bad thing at all. Mars is in its detriment in Cancer, though. It's not the best place for Mars. Trying not to take things too personally. I'm having Fit Aid today. This is my new favorite drink. Look at all the good things in there. Can you see it? Oh, it's all backwards. I'll read it to you. Glutamine, glucosamine, branch chain amino acids, also known as BCAA. Electrolytes, CoQ10, turmeric, quercetin, green tea extract, vitamin C, D, and E, full B complex, and omega-3s. No artificial anything. End of story. So it's this company. They're pretty good. They're from Santa Cruz. They have all these different drinks. And this is my new Red Bull. I think it's like the healthy Red Bull. It's got biot, and then I guess that's part of the B thing. Magnesium, lactate, potassium phosphate. A lot of organic filtered water. I like it. Cheers to you, Fit Aid. So anyway, we've got some new stuff happening astrologically. Welcome to the Friday FARcast. I think we were sort of getting up to speed. There are 30 people, grand 30 people watching right now. Thank you, all 30 of you, for being here as we broadcast live to you from Fredericksburg. So there's some interesting stuff happening today, just in terms of the world. There's always interesting things happening in terms of the world. And then there is some stuff that I kind of wanted to cover, some programming pieces. I was watching the NBA playoffs last night, and it was the Golden State Warriors versus the Portland Trailblazers. And there's a lot of interesting kind of storylines there because, of course, Golden State Warriors, they're not in San Francisco. They are in Oakland. They're moving to San Francisco next season. But I was in Oakland recently, and just like just about all the other cities, sort of major cities on the West Coast, there is a really heavy-duty homeless problem in Oakland. They've got people living in tents underneath BART tracks and stuff like that. It's like, what the hell has happened to the world that I grew up in? It's really sad when I go back to California and I have to see essentially this cultivation of the worst parts of the third world. People always sort of source the third world. Oh, nice. There's some interesting things about the third world. Like some of the people actually have some heart and soul. There are traditions, indigenous traditions in the third world that are, sort of deeply resonant and connected into the realm of nature, natural cycles. So, third world has become kind of this pejorative statement. But on the other hand, the third world also represents these environments that have been manipulated over and over again by governments and corporations, so that people are living at levels of subsistence, barely above subsistence. And we've seen again and again and again, especially in South America, where there's a pretty significant stratification of wealth. And whether it's due to the communists and the intelligentsia who run the communist regimes, who are at the top of the pecking order, the top of the pyramid. Castro was filthy rich. He lived in a freaking mansion. He had all the best toys and tools. He had all kinds of women at his disposal. So look who's here. The J-Man has arrived. And notice, Jasper, I noticed that you kind of match part of the backdrop for the first time. So you're kind of blending in with some of this backdrop, right? You are such an attention seeker. So prior to him jumping up here and inserting himself into today's live stream, he was actually crashed out on a bag over in my dining room. You know, one eye open sort of thing. It's like he was melting into that bag. But all of a sudden he started hearing me talk, and he just had to be a part of the proceedings. The sign of your public adores you. They adore you. Okay. So Castro, that guy was a king. He was on top of that. See, that's how communism works. There are a few people at the top, man. Are they living large for a while? The thing with communism is you can't pass your wealth on to your heirs, which is one of the reasons why the fall of the Soviet Union, former Soviet Union, took place, because people who had invested into their quest to reach the top of the Politburo and the pyramid realized that they had family that they wanted to pass some wealth on to. So there were a number of other reasons why the fall of the former Soviet Union happened, but that was definitely one of the reasons, because they wanted to move that money along. But anyway, the third world has become synonymous with poverty, has become synonymous with the teeming masses who compete for resources, usually on the other side of the law, guns, drugs, gangs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So when we say the third world is coming to America, that's what we mean. It doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, the third world isn't necessarily completely bad, but that's the way we now can sort of, how do I say this, abbreviate that experience. And that's what it looks like now. When we go back to California, it looks like, I mean, it could be Rio de Janeiro. It could be, well, it couldn't necessarily be India per se, because there's nothing quite like India. But it could be, you know, it could be South Africa. It could be Rio. It could be any number of places. You drive around and go, holy shit, what happened here? And that's what's happening all up and down the West Coast and other parts of the United States. Austin has a burgeoning homeless problem. And they want to be so, how do I say this, progressive when it comes to the homeless and provide them with needles and all that stuff. And at the end of the day, it's really just a program of enabling. And we're seeing huge amounts of people who are the casualties of the opioid war. You know, it's really interesting. A lot of the opioids come from China. China produces a lot of the opioids. I think they produce fentanyl. And this is China's way of getting back to the West, because it was the West that got China essentially hooked on opium. Right? It was the English who got the Chinese hooked on opium, so the English could sort of do what they do, which is, you know, theoretically colonize and spread their Union Jack across the planet. So I think that there's some correlation to the Chinese being these producers now of the latest version of opioids. And the opioid crisis has really left America reeling, you know, It's been a really bad trip. And I don't know what it's like to get off of opioids, but I can only assume that it's hellish. How many times have we seen the portrayals of people getting off of smack and what they have to go through? From watching that kind of visceral version of hell, you can only imagine what it'd be like to get off of opioids. So when you go into these cities, that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a lot of people who've been the casualties. They're just casualties of their lives for whatever reason, whether it was their upbringing, or whether it was a failed relationship or two or three, or whether it was a job that was lost, or successive hits to who they are. And then there's the checking out process. And then the next thing you know, you're just off the rails, man. And I think that's what we're looking at. And what's happened is that cities have enabled these conditions now so that we have this really kind of seething, teeming, traumatized and anesthetized underclass who are living, kind of day by day by day. It's a really stark reality. And it's nothing that really ever gets addressed. I mean, we talk about all these other things. We talk about immigration. Abortion's going to be right at the top of the talking points now. And nobody's ever really addressing what's going on in our cities. And I don't think there's any coincidence that the cities themselves are being governed by, for all intents and purposes, leftists. I don't think there's any, and here's the deal. I don't think that the leftists are operating in a vacuum. I think that the leftists are actually operating very nicely at times with the right, because they help define each other. There can't be one without the other. And this is one of the things that Anthony Sutton painstakingly and excruciatingly detailed when it came to his research on Skull and Bones and what happens with Skull and Bones and what Skull and Bones produces. Skull and Bones produces liberals, leftists, and produces conservatives, so that they're always engaged in this ongoing process of the Hegelian dialectic. And it's basically ordo ab chao, order out of chaos, which is the Hegelian dialectic, basically the same thing. So, this is what we're dealing with now in these cities, and it's just not getting enough attention, because this once great country, and it is great in spite of all its flaws, it's a great place. But I'm not into necessarily making America great again in that extent. I'm definitely into finding those threads that make this shared and collective experience stand out. I was talking with somebody yesterday. We're talking about Katrina, what happened with Katrina. And one of the things that I brought up was the fact that as soon as Katrina happened, there were fire companies coming down from places like Boston. There were people from all over the South and the Northeast that were all converging on New Orleans in order to help. See, this is in a lot of ways the American spirit at its finest in terms of crisis. And what happened was, of course, George Bush had told Mike Brown to not let anybody in. It's the government's job. And the reason why they didn't want anybody in is because, well, they had done a little hanky-panky there down in New Orleans with blowing up the levees and creating even more of a catastrophe than Katrina had brought upon the city itself. And it was a very selected and directed catastrophe, because there were wards inside of New Orleans that were not affected by Katrina at all. And there are others that were devastated. And those were the ones that theoretically real estate developers wanted to get their paws on. So this is in some ways the spirit of America in a positive sense. We fast forward, we go to Hurricane Harvey, which was not that long ago, in Houston, and what did we see? We saw people reaching out, helping. You had the what do they call themselves? The Bayou Navy, coming in from New Orleans with their little pontoons and stuff and helping people. And Trump didn't tell anybody to stay away. So we have this thing inside of our spirit, which is really, in a lot of ways, very caring, very independent, and will reach out and extend a hand. That's part of what I think makes this country and this experience great. If I sat here for the next hour, I might be able to find a few more. But that's just at the top of my list. So for us to move forward as a country, if we're going to do it, and I don't think we ultimately will, because we're in this deconstruction phase, but in order for us to do, we've got to get people off drugs. They got to get off drugs. And I'm very encouraged in my work with people as an astrologer, and also being a witness to what's taking place in the world around me. So today I had a client, and a young guy, really talented writer, creator, millennial, and he checked himself into rehab because of his addictions. And he was, of course, wanting to kind of get an astrological update with me. And I'm not going to get into the core of his addictions, but they were kind of intense. And in order to face some of those things, it takes a lot of courage. And I'm like, good for you. You're cleaning up your act. And I'm seeing this more and more with people. The young gal that I was having this conversation with yesterday, really good friend, and she, again, a millennial. She went through an addiction crisis phase a few years back and got clean. Now she's a successful videographer and a mother-to-be. This is encouraging for me because I'm seeing more and more of this. And again, I've talked about Owen Benjamin, how he gave up alcohol and how prolific he is. Not because of Owen Benjamin. In fact, I gave up drinking alcohol before Owen Benjamin did. But, in my own life, this is happening, okay? And the reason it's happening is because I feel that we don't have the luxury. Well, first of all, we went from the Dionysian to the Apollonian. We made that shift. And the Apollonian, in the personal sense, is using the light and the heat of this symbolic sun to illuminate where you are, what you need to do, and how you need to get through this experience. And when that process takes place, what do you get to see? You get to see your shadow. When you're in the Dionysian, the Dionysian is the lunar experience, and the shadow is not seen. Sometimes it is on a full moon, but my sense of the Dionysian process is the Dionysian at the new moon, the darkest point, where everything is, there's potential and there's magic, right? So you wouldn't see your shadow during the new moon. So there is no shadow in the Dionysian realm. And one would think that maybe the shadow has been integrated, maybe, or maybe the shadow is just part of the landscape and you just don't see it. So this is where we are now, and it's actually a really good place to be. I think we're on this new shore, which is the far shore from the Dionysian revelry of the 1960s and the 70s. Finally, it's ebbing. It's finally ending that cycle. In fact, I guess we're at the 50th anniversary of Woodstock. Can I do an eye roll? There's an eye roll right there. They had another Woodstock that was a bad experience. Really bad experience. Now they've got another one. In fact, they were going to cancel it. I thought it was canceled. Now it's back on again. It might be nice if we just put it to rest. Put it to rest. Because a lot of the people, they're going to start going away. They're going to start just, packing up and going away. If they haven't already. I was just reading that Peter Frampton is on his farewell tour. Think about that. Not that Peter Frampton was a great artist, but he made a cultural impact. That Frampton Comes Alive record, it's huge. Huge. Then he got into that car wreck and it wasn't really the same after that. Anyway, I want to get into some programming stuff. There's a few things that have crossed my radar. And I was watching the basketball game, the Warriors game, which was interesting for, again, a number of reasons. I stated the Portland, San Francisco thing, which tend to be at this point in time these capitals of, I should say this, human excess. So they're playing against each other. They have two brothers, or a pair of brothers, Steph Curry and Seth Curry, and they're going up against each other. It's the first time in NBA history that we've seen two brothers score off against each other in the finals of a conference. And they couldn't be more different. Steph is a Pisces, and guess what sign Seth is? He's a Virgo. So we have true opposites going on there. It's really interesting. I'm going to go back here. I turn the Wi-Fi on because I'm not getting a strong signal. Well, I was getting a better signal before I was having it off. Give me 1 second here. Okay, I think we're back. It's really weird when I'm getting a stronger signal through the Wi-Fi versus being jacked in directly to the modem. Very strange. Anyway, so I was watching the game last night, and I had this commercial cross my screen, and it's the first time I'd seen it. Now you have to remember that a basketball game is generally family event, people sitting around watching the game. The demographics for the NBA are a little bit different than the demographics for, say, Major League Baseball or the NFL. They're just a little bit different. So this is the first time I've seen this commercial, and I'm going to play it for you. This is Google has a new product that they're pushing, and it's called Nest. Nest. I want to show you something. I'm going to bring something to your attention. We do this. This was the definition. I went online. I'm like, well, let's find out what the definition of Nest is. And sometimes we always think that we know what the definition of things are, right? Sometimes we think we know that, but it's like, oh, let me just get in here and let me see really what this definition is about. Let me share with you the definition of Nest that popped up on Google, of all things. Here we go. Nest, a structure or place made or chosen by a bird for laying eggs and sheltering its young. Synonyms: roost, airy, and then there's more. Okay, here's the other example they use: a place filled with or frequented by undesirable people or things. A nest of spies, hotbed, den, breeding ground, cradle, seedbed, forcing house. So these are the first two definitions of Nest. And this is what Google is calling their new technology, Nest. All right, just wanted to bring that to the fore here. I'm going to play this commercial, and I got to unplug. Give me 1 second. Okay, we are in unplug mode. Yes. And let me go in here. Just wanted to bring that to the fore. I'll play this commercial. I'm going to unplug. Yes. Here. Just wanted to Okay, I had to deal with the background noise just for a second. As soon as they get clear, I'm going to play this commercial. And I'll probably wind up talking, well, I may not talk over it. I'll play it, and then I'll go back. All right, here we go. Let's fire this thing up. Hold on to me as we go. As we roll down this unfamiliar road. And although this way is stringing us along, just know you're not alone. 'Cause I'm gonna make this place yours. Settle down, it'll all be clear. Trouble it might drag you down. You get lost, you can always be found. Just know you're not alone. 'Cause I'm gonna make this place yours. Hey, Mom, I'm stuck again. All right, so that was Nest. So this is what I was watching last night during the game. I want to go through some of these frames. Okay. So first of all, this kid's drinking fluoridated water. Sorry, but it's kind of true, right? I mean, think about this. Right now, there's going to be a fight for fluoridated water, and we're in it right here in Fredericksburg on the front lines. What do you see first? Oh, this is fun. It's fine. Look at this kid. He's using his toothbrush to slurp, and it gets you into the commercial. Like the first thing you see is there's a lot of kids who are partially clad in this commercial, by the way, which you'll see, right? It's like it's okay for like child nudity. It's innocent. Okay, maybe, you know, am I being hyper paranoid? I don't know, but this is the first thing we see. And the teeth and the mouth represent things that we consume. So the first thing this commercial does is it keys us back into our childhood, and theoretically what it's supposed to do is derail our cynicism so that we can then consume the rest of what they're about to show us. So by and large, it's a fairly benign sort of image, right? And, you know, who took their toothbrush and did this? I did. So it's also kind of an act that I think most of us can relate to. Oh, gee, remember when I did that? Okay. So now where does that go? Where does that image go? He's happy, he goes through it. Now that image goes to right here. Different kind of toothbrush experience now, isn't it? Yes, it is. We've got the redheaded lass here brushing her teeth, and over here we have hair cropped, hatted up, and clearly in a more, how shall we say, experiential phase of the toothbrush experience, right? So these two women are lovers. So what Google is doing, just from a psychological standpoint, right, is that it's setting this up with that image, starting with this image. It's innocent. Look, somebody's got a blue collar, probably worked hard all day. And then we drop into this. I'm like, okay, all right. So we go from this to that. And look, I'm not saying that these people can't have an affection or a life or have a whatever this is kind of moment. And I would assume that because it's light, I would assume that they've just had sex. If it was dark, they'd be going to have sex. This is the morning, wake up, brushing the teeth. There's the bed over there. This is that I really enjoyed you in our time together kind of experience, right? That's what it looks like to me anyway. So now we are entrained to go, oh, okay. It's really what bothers me is the entrainment. Like, they didn't start the commercial with this scene, okay? No, they started it with this one. And the natural lighting and the shadow and the warmth. And then we get taken into it, and it's like, okay, well, this is okay. This is okay. So, but what is Google pushing here? Well, they're pushing just about what every other major corporation is pushing at this point in time, which is a version of this kind of relationship. I got another piece that I want to share with you after this. And it is, to me, it represents programming. It's programming people to get their heads wrapped around a different version of society or the world. And it's Google's version. It's Google's version. It's Silicon Valley and Tech's version. It's not Flyover's version for the most part. I'll tell you that. All right, let's keep going. So we go from here, and then of course there's the kiss moment, right? It wasn't that long ago where Ellen DeGeneres was breaking molds as being the first, lesbian sitcom. I mean, that's like a TV dinner compared to this. And I'm not judging the morality. I'm just showing you the difference between the two. I mean, she's clamped on hard here on the thighs, right? So it's intimate. And she's walking off towards the bed. Now we got another toothbrush moment. Okay, so we started off with the innocence, and then we get into a toothbrush moment where maybe not so innocent. And just before you can wrap your head around that image, we're back into another toothbrush moment. This one brings us into levity. And this is the family scene of the dog being the good dog and having his teeth brushed. You see what's happened there? It's a sandwich effect. Go from the innocence to the, hey, wow, what's going on here? To, oh, isn't that cute? But it's that sandwich image that gets buried in between the two anchors. It's very, very sophisticated. All right, so let's go through the commercial a bit more. Okay, now we've moved away from the toothbrush imagery, but we're still with children. And it's like, okay, what do we have here? Standing on the door of the dishwasher. Oh boy, catastrophe about to happen. We've seen that before. So there's imagery that's going to get us to think about things that we've all done. It anchors us to our original nest. Mom comes in, saves the day. No. Okay, up you go. There's a lot of kids and a lot of diapers in this commercial. Okay, so the first three images we've seen, basically, it looks like a Caucasian boy, Caucasian girl, Caucasian mom, and then we had the two white women as lovers. Now we take a step into diversity, and we have dad here, could be uncle, grandpa, doing a little haircut job on Sunny Boy in the kitchen, right? So we've entered into, well, Nest isn't just for these people. Guess what? You can have Nest too. In fact, you're going to be looking at him through Nest. This is what Nest sees. This is what Nest is seeing. This is coming from Nest, looking directly at this kid getting the rice bowl cut. I'm sorry. This is, you know, it's usually called the sugar bowl cut. I call it the rice. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. It's like Mo from Three Stooges. Okay. Anyway, this is what's going on. Cute picture. Again, more innocence. Right. But now we've got a different community so they're building a bridge now. All right. Where do we go from here? Okay, another child kind of image, right? And we have a woman here, we have a guy here, we have a kid here, and it looks like what we really have here is a real nest. We've got an arm here. This is kind of the definition of this is a nest, right? They're all kind of gathered together on the floor, getting you again into that kind of homey thing. And now we have another version of the nest, and now we're into biraciality. Clearly, he is not the same as her. Now, it's not, again, I'm not making a value judgment, but I'm just showing you like all the bases that they're covering in this, right? So now we have the biracial family, tickle, 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 tickle. And it's like, okay, it's a different kind of nest. You know, this is not the same nest that we saw here. No, not him. That's not that nest. Here, right? So we have this juxtaposition. This looks like your typical middle class person here, right? Person here, baby here, person here. They look typical, kind of middle class, maybe a little bit of hippy dippy Santa Cruz Anglo. And then we go here, right? Oh, okay. It's a different kind of nest. What do we have next? Okay, this is, all right, you got the dog on the bed. So what do dogs represent? You see dogs, and you see another image of a dog. Dogs represent loyalty. So we have a dog on his back. He's wide open, which means he's very trusting. This is nature at its most trusting and loyal. And so it's another image that anchors us into like, okay, I feel safe. I feel good here. There's a lot of like green imagery, as you'll see throughout this as well. Natural. Okay, now we transition to another baby, right? And the baby's in the dog bowl. Oh, who hasn't had dog food as a kid, right? So, you know, if you didn't have it, probably had a brother or sister that did. Another anchor. Here's the dog door that'll play a role coming up here. Oh, now, okay, here we go. Now we've got this little girl, another redhead, by the way, and she's making daddy look like mommy. And daddy's just really okay. In fact, daddy looks like he was born to play mommy. Right? All daddy needs is some of this. Go right there. Maybe he's already got some. So it's okay for daddy to be mommy. It's really okay. He seems to be just blissed out, right? So now we've got another thing going on. They're using kids almost through every single frame. And remember, we've got the true node going through Cancer astrologically. And this is right in alignment with that. It's all about the home. It's all about the nest. Right? We're only 24 seconds into this 90-minute opus of trust. All right. And he's just thrilled that this is going on. Absolutely thrilled. Daddy as mommy. And he's looking down, and here's the nest in the background, right? This could be mommy back there. Who knows? Who knows who this person is? But she's getting to see we're being replaced by daddy. Just kidding. Anyway, there's nest. It's nested in the background. This is going on. It's always just so touching. And you have this guy right here. I'm not sure what to do with this one. I mean, I kind of am. All right, so let's look at this frame for a second. We've got a very old piano in the background. We have a lot of warm hues, mauve, tan, and furniture that speaks to an older time, okay? Which again is very Cancerian because Cancer looks to the past. It's nostalgic. And this guy looks like he is really struggling with the unicorn. Of course, it's a unicorn. Bring it up here. Okay, where does the mind go with this? I'm just, it's a little weird, a little unusual, right? You got to get the unicorn in. Unicorn, and then you can hear in the background, like, the kind of the laughter and the glee. And there he goes, rainbow unicorn, satyr dad taking it into the party. Clearly, this dude is from another culture. He's from another culture. Like, if I had to take a stab, he'd probably be Middle Eastern. Guess what he's done? He's assimilated, right? He's in our nest now. Okay, here we go. Moving along. Okay, another redhead. This is the third redhead in this commercial, the spot. Again, it's 90 seconds long. We've seen 3 redheads. We saw the redhead at the beginning who was sitting down, brushing her teeth. The young redhead who was giving her father mommy makeup. And now we have another redhead and she is celebrating a birthday. Now, is this a friend? Is it a sister? It links us in some ways back to the first image of the redhead who's brushing her teeth. Maybe it's the same woman. And she's cheating on Frank, her partner. Or maybe that's, but now the nest, right? The nest is becoming more prevalent. We're starting to see how the nest is there to play an everyday role in their lives, to bring them closer together, to reaffirm this sense of being home. You don't have to leave the home when you have the nest. But remember, nest also represents like a group of people who are unwanted, i.e. spies. Hello, okay? So let's go a little bit celebratory. You don't have to be there for a birthday. She looks like she has red hair too, huh? There's a theme here. Maybe they're sisters. There's a definite theme here. The redheaded gals. Okay, next series. Here she is. Oh, she does have a redhead, right? She's got the red head and the red fur. So now we have 4 redheads, which is, in a lot of ways, redhead is a very kind of American symbol in a lot of ways. It's like kind of American. It's not brassy and blonde. It's not platinum blonde. It's not dark and brunettish. It's redhead. And I've talked about the significance of the redhead before. And what the redhead, how the redhead shows up. It shows up after, theoretically, the flood. And in Jay Weidner's theory that it's not just Jay's, that there was a group of people that expatriated or left the planet, went to Mars, part of the Noah journey, and then came back. When they came back, they were all oxidized. Anyway, it's a theory. It's an interesting one. But now we've got 4 redheads here. Happy birthday. All right. Look at that. It's bringing the outside world in and the inside world out. This nest is a magical thing. Now, what do we have here? This is an interesting one. Obviously, it's a holiday. We see the wreath. And we see that, hey, they're coming home or they're visiting people for the holiday. There's the luggage. It's interesting because the trees here are in plum blossom mode. That's usually around February. So it's a little bit off, but you know, who's counting? I am. All right, so let's, so they're here, they're ringing the doorbell. Okay, so what's happening here? Well, Nest is also a security system. So what you're seeing here is you're seeing this image from who's watching it on the other side of Nest. That's what this image represents. It's not just them going into this house. It's them being observed. Look at the end. There's a camera up here, and Nest comes with cameras. Interesting, huh? All right, so let's keep going. Jasper's very into this. All right, so here we go. What's the next frame? So this is interesting. So they start off, they go in, and who do they see? This is a really trippy thing. There's like some weird like alchemy and magic here. Okay, so arms wide open, he's smiling. They're happy to be there. And then they become black, right? This is what happens. So we have this duality thing going on. She throws her arms open, walks in, and then we have this scene, which is, oh, so happy to see you, right? It's like, whoa, whoa. She needs a little more furniture. She's got an exercise machine over there. A little more furniture. Come on, Google. Let's go. Maybe they're keeping it real. All right, Jasper, I'm gonna have to send you back to your other nest. You got to go to the other nest. There you go. No. There you go. All right. Go play with Rosie. See what just happened? It's like, oh, we're magicians. We go from here, hi, we're happy to see you. He's like, hey, what's happening, sister? Come on in. This is being captured by Nest, by the way. No, you need to stay down. This is a Nest moment. It's back. Go up there. Go back behind. Go back behind the media center. There you go. Okay. Moving on. There it is. Wonderful family. That's being captured by Nest. That's the camera that's looking into the house, right? Okay. Now the next scene, we shift to, now we get into pathos. Everything has been happy, up, celebratory, quirky, innocent, friendly. Now we get into pathos. Now we get into the more emotional and human sides of the Nest experience. Okay, so we have this moment here, and this is two women, and they're hugging it out. Lots of emotion here. Okay, and really tight, up close, personal. See that? Very, very intense. On the verge of crying. Okay, and then we get to another personal moment. Here we go, this woman. It's nighttime now. Okay, we've noticed like a lot of the earlier stuff was daytime. Now we've shifted to nighttime where the moods become a little more serious. She's there. And she's there, right? It is a she, right? I mean, I can't really figure this one out. That's a dude. I don't know. So what's going on here? Now, is this dude? This is, okay. Here's where we do some interpretation. Now, I think it's a guy. I'm not sure. Okay, but this is part of the deal, right? Something serious is being discussed here, and like, is this person coming out? Is that what's happening? Are they sharing with their mom that they don't want to be a dude or be a girl? I don't know what's happening here. It's nighttime. Again, the mood is more serious. And there's more emotion. Okay. Now we're back to the baby. We've just got taken through, like, what was that? Who were those people? What was going on? Remember, your subconscious is picking up on this stuff all the time. Now we're back into baby, another kid without wearing a whole lot. Oh, it's cute, funny. It looks like Salvador Dali there. And it's not happy, not happy, not happy, not happy. Looks up. And then what do we have? We have, she gets fed and she becomes happy again. Okay, happy. Now we have this, which is, the note says sorry, S-O-O-R-Y. Apparently we're dealing with sisters in the home. See, sorry. That's supposed to make it real, right? We come in here and hold on, go back. And maybe that's mom sitting on the bathtub and thinking, okay, I've got to forgive her. So we're back at home, but there are more emotions now. Even that baby, she was upset. She was crying. What's going on here? Ooh. Little eye Horus action happening. Suspicion behind the door. But guess what? Nest is there to capture it. Oh, we see now it's a little girl. This is the one who had the sorry note, right? That's her. This was sorry girl. She gets to come in. She gets to bond with her mother for whatever stupid thing she did. Okay. Now we have this guy. He's crying. It's probably a funeral. Oh, don't worry. Nest is there, ready to capture it. He's all choked up. And then he has this other dude come in, put his hand on his back. It's okay. Is that Bernie Sanders back there? It might be Bernie Sanders. This guy's crying because he's thinking, oh my God, you're running again? Maybe Bernie's asking for a vote. Not quite Bernie Sanders. But, you know, he's got the silver hair, gray temples. He's wise. He's a wise man. Okay, so we're seeing more emotion. Let's crack it up. Somebody's dead. Somebody died. This is a memorial. Right? And Nest is there to capture it. So you see how the emotions have gotten darker, darker and darker. So it's light, light, light. Now we're more into darkness, darker tones, taking you through the emotional experience of life, right? Of life. Okay. So now here we have a baby, and she's being sort of, you know, maybe sad, you know, contemplative in a contemplative baby sort of way. Again, more innocence. But here we have the introduction of our first Black or African American child. Everything else has been white babies. Okay, and they've been associated generally with things that are upbeat or happy or playful, and now we're into this dark mood cycle, and now we have a dark child that's in this dark mood cycle. It's another anchor, right? So you can still be dark, you can still be connected to children and still be connected to this innocence. So they're trying to bring in this panoply of emotion so you can buy this damn thing. Let it in your house. You see, that's the other thing. They want you to be able to feel safe with it in your house. There's also programming going on. Now this is getting a little bit lighter, and you can see that this guy has all these birds, right? And now he's eating some rice. Looks like he's got a nice piece of teriyaki chicken over here, some rice, and his bird buddy's gonna come in, and he's gonna feed the bird buddy. Okay, again, the tones inside the homes tend to be dark. We've got more mauve. We've got a bit of an earth tone, a little bit of sea green here. He's wearing green, right? He's kind of fitting into this part of the dining room. The coffee cup serves as a bridge between this part and the mauve over here, right? So it's another kind of innocent scene in some ways, but we go from very young here, right? Very young to old. So we're dealing again with duality. It's kind of like that scene where those people are on the doorstep and they open their arms, door opens, and all of a sudden you got those two women, right? The two black women who are hugging. So they're playing with duality and trying to build bridges between the two. Like this is how like Nest will resolve the duality. Nest will dissolve the conflict because in duality, generally you have conflict because it's in opposition, right? Okay. So now we get back to, now we get another baby shot. This time the baby's taking a poop. We got another dog, more loyalty. You know, the baby's on the magic carpet. Dog smells the diaper, a little bit of comic relief, ha, 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 and walks away from the stinky diaper. Okay, there we go. And then we go to another toilet scene or a scene that's connected to, oh, somebody put somebody's frog in the toilet. Well, that happens, right? Okay. More innocence. Now they're kind of weaving a little bit here. And then we've got another, check her out, redhead. This is the 5th redhead that we've seen. And what is she doing? She's screaming into the air conditioner. Because you remember when you were a kid, how screaming into the air conditioner was so cool? She's strawberry. She's not really red, but she's on the red spectrum. She's screaming into the air conditioner while the air conditioner blows cool air into her. Fun, right? More mauve. Are these the same house for all these? Okay, now we're going to go here, and here's where the kid and the dog combine to be one. The kid's coming through the dog door. Who hasn't done that before? I tried to do that a couple of weeks before I stopped drinking alcohol. Didn't work out so well. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so then we get into this scene. Oh, now we've got people from India, looks like, and they're practicing some kind of yoga. More mauve, a little bit of the sea green. All right, there's grandma teaching her kids how to be avatars. Okay, cool, great, wonderful. More innocence, more children. You know, these kids are they're wearing jammies. No bare chested babies here. Okay, there we go. Now we've got another young girl in her karate outfit, right? What do we got going on here? And she has, let's see. She's got a karate outfit, okay. Going to the dojo. Girls warrior. Young girl, warrior girl. Not an uncommon theme in our times. Now we go to this group. They're older and they're looking back on their youth. More mauve, lots of mauves here. Warm earth colors, stained glass windows. Church-like in some ways. Now they're just having a blast, and Nest is capturing all of it. She's taking the picture away from him playfully. Okay, cool. Now this is where it gets a little weird. Now we have this guy. Yeah, what is this? See, look at the face. Look at the lens. Okay, this is either a camera inside the house, or this is the way that Nest is capturing this. And what is he doing? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Who's he looking up at? What do you think? What do you think, Mommy? Mommy's thinking, I got to go look up gender dysphoria. That's what I got to do. Because, you know, my kid's not over here playing with, you know, whatever this is. Right now, he's like, you know, trying the D cups on for size, the C cups or whatever they are. But that's okay. It's all part of home. It's all homey. It's all nesty. When I saw this, I was like, wow, what's going on here? What are they trying to do? What are they trying to do? What are they trying to get us to wrap our heads around? Moving forward. Now we've got another family. Again, it's nighttime. We're back into exuberance. We probably have a nice big pot of gumbo there, looking really good. Maybe it's in the South. This kid is tearing it up, right? He's like, yee, he's like jamming. So it's jamming. He's got some good moves, this kid. Grandma's all proud of him, like, you go, you go. You go. All right, here we go. Here we go, here we go. Okay, now it comes to this right here. Right there, boom. You got this guy, he's a little freaked out. And we're back at the beginning. Right, we're back at innocence. We're back with the baby. Nest is capturing all this, taking us through this gamut of emotions. Right, he's not sure, he's not sure, he's not sure. And then, boom. You make a house a home. There it is. You make a house a home, and Nest is there to capture every single moment of it. In fact, it will humanize your home. And along the way, we'll be introduced into about 5 redheads and some very interesting social programming. It's a 90-second spot. They were putting that together last night during the You Make a House a Home, We Make a Home a Nest. A nest. And this is what you end on right here. It's like, oh, he overcomes his reticence, right? He overcomes his reticence to letting this new thing into his home, right? Because there are people who would have reticence to have this thing, this technology, and it comes with cameras. It comes with cameras. You can also talk to people from other places. It's kind of like, you know, using it's like let's take Skype and build a screen around it and have other people have the same screens and just go back and forth without using Skype. And then let's incorporate home security and cameras and put it all in one package. A lot of people don't want cameras, and they probably don't want Google being able to be in their home. So Google's got to find a way to get in your home. And the way that they do it is they play on your emotions. And this last scene is really important. Let's go back. Look at him. He's like, I don't know. I don't know. Well, and then here comes the baby. Here he comes. It's your little brother. And what do we see? Oh, in the nest. Transformed from reticence and hesitance to baby in the box. He's okay with it now. He's all good with it now. And so should you be, because this commercial has softened you, opened you, and really wrapped your head and heart around the value of Nest and Google residing in your home. And along the way, a little social programming doesn't hurt. Let's see what you guys have to chime in with about that. Let's get into your world a little bit here. Some of your reactions. See what's going on. That Chinese guy's the hitman. Let's see what we have here. Let's see. Strawberry counts as red. Yes. Animal spirit. Nice pyramid. Another dark house. Moles in the background of your lives. This unnamed makes you see what you don't want to see within yourself. Okay, cutting dad out of the picture. Mother of 12 kids. Oh my God, smart home with 5G microwaves. Big brother is watching you. Those frazzled mommies always sleep in their lingerie on the floor. Huggy says smart diapers for Bluetooth now. Oh, funny. Funny, funny, funny. Let's see. Stephen Chris reminded me of Philip K. Dick's A Scanner Darkly. Your comment was censored because you said Dick, believe it or not. I had to okay that. I got to get one of these. Elan, that's funny. That is really funny. Cutting dad out of the picture. What else do we have here? God help me before I go back to my old ways. Finishes rice bowl, polishes pistol. What else do I have? Chinese guy's a hitman. You're like someone else disappointed me, Polly. Mobster crying is the best. I know, right? He did look like a mobster, didn't he? He did. That is so damn funny. But why is the programming focusing on these demos? Because I think they're the ones that are the ones that are the most easily manipulated. That's what I think. And they're trying to bend the curve, right? They're trying to make to go from red to purple, and I think that's part of. But you're right. They're not. Those are not like scenes that you would see like in Texas or Oklahoma or maybe Alabama or North Carolina. I mean these are anyway, I thought I'd share that with you because I thought it was like really planned out. Like they wanted to take you from point A to point B. They wanted to take you from elation to emotion. They wanted to include innocence. They wanted to include diversity, maybe some level of perversity. They certainly are entering into that one space where the baby is he's trying out the bra, right? So there are anchors in that 90-second spot. And I love doing stuff like this because I want to demystify this stuff. I love breaking this stuff down. Okay, I'm going to play another one for you. So this is okay. So we know that we had the big commercial with Gillette, and Gillette was basically woman-splaining to men, toxic masculinity. And Gillette took a lot of heat for that commercial. A lot of heat. I mean, they were, on the one hand, it was good because they got all the publicity. On the other hand, there are people that stopped buying Gillette products. So Gillette's latest commercial is perhaps, and I say perhaps in the quotation marks, the answer to that. Okay. Here we go. You got to get down. Okay, this is your second time you're being kicked off the island. Okay, you're kicked off the island. Second time he usually gets the message. All right. No. All right. He's back again. Okay, just stare right into them. Give them a dose of your charisma. Okay, and move them on. Move them on. Cats, man. Today I want you to be a dog. Today I want you to be a dog. I love cats. All right. So here, this was their answer. It's very interesting. All right, here. I think again, in terms of their answer and their goal to get back in the good graces of men, Gillette is still trolling men. but you have to pay attention, right? You have to pay attention, Jasper. Okay, so let me get into the screen share. Okay, so let's start here. What you're seeing is his name is Jason C. Jason C. And he is a firefighter. It's a very manly profession, don't you think? Very manly. Well, where is he from? He's from Middlesex County in Massachusetts. Okay, you are really off the island now. Okay, just go play with Rosie. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, Middlesex County. So theoretically, he would be this perfect sweet spot between being a manly man and a non-toxic male. The middle sex. Okay, so I want you to pay attention to this commercial and the message. Let me just make sure, hold on one second. I gotta make sure that hold on one second. Let me just get out of this. I just have to make sure that that my volume is in the right place. Hold on one moment. Give me 1 second. Yeah, good. Okay. Let's pop this back up, full screen. Now remember, this is not for a razor. Listen to it.
It has been difficult for me. I have very sensitive skin. I get ingrown hairs, so it's a daunting task. Oh, I love it. It's a great razor. It has that fence in the middle. It gives it a nice smooth shave. Just stop my irritation. That burn that I get is really life-changing.
All right. I'm going to play it one more time, and then we're going to go through it. There we go. This is Gillette kind of answering their critics and creating a manly man commercial for shaving. Remember, he's in Middlesex County. Here we go.
Even has been difficult for me. I have very sensitive skin. I get ingrown hairs, so it's a daunting task. Oh, I love it. It's a great razor. It has that fence in the middle. It gives it a nice smooth shave. Just stopping that irritation. That burn that I get is really life-changing. It's been difficult for me.
Okay. Life-changing. Wow. What have you been doing all these years? Let's get back into this. This is fascinating. Okay. So first of all, he can barely contain himself from cracking up. He starts off as being, this bald-headed, intense firefighter guy doing the Donald Trump sign down here. And he starts to talk about how he's got ingrown hairs, how sensitive he is. And then right around here, right around here, the violins kick in. And if you listen to the violin, let's just do this. Listen to the violins.
A daunting task.
A daunting task.
Oh, I love it. It's
He loves it.
It has that fence.
Oh, there's the fence.
It gives it a nice.
It's got that fence. Now he didn't say it has that safety guard. It has that ribbed separator. He calls it the fence. because better fences make better neighbors. The fence. So this fence is supposed to represent this kind of walling off of maybe the last commercial that Gillette did. But it's the violins. And I think this is where the trolling part comes in. Listen to these violins.
It's a great razor. It has that fence in the middle. It gives a nice smooth shave. Just stopping that irritation, that burn.
That burn.
It's really life-changing.
All right. Really life-changing. Remember when he first started off? He was kind of the intense firefighter guy. Look what we got going on here. He's got braces. He's laughing. Gillette has returned his humanity. He is not some threatening, toxic male. Oh, no, he's not. Look at him. He's a goofball. He's a goofball, right? I think Gillette's trolling us. It's like, right. Tough guy, huh? Big male. Look at him. Look at him. He's a big softy, and he's got braces. Look at him. This is what I think is going on here. I kept watching this commercial over and over again. The thing that got me are the violins. That's the other part. Din, 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 right? Like it's really, like the tension is mounting. Oh my God, oh my God. Listen to those violins. And then he breaks into this much more innocent side of himself. Now, what's interesting about this is that you have this guy who is white, who is peddling a razor that has the skin guard, which he calls the fence, right? And the reason why it's weird is because this is a razor that is ostensibly made for black males, because their hairs on their cheeks tend to grow in, right? They tend to grow in, and you have to have a special razor. So here with the skin guard, you see, black male here, and yet you have Big Softy selling this thing. Again, it's a troll. Because when you watched that last commercial with Gillette, there was a scene where there is this guy, he comes out of a restaurant, and he's all motched up, and he's catcalling this gal, and his brother comes out and says, "Hey man, slow your roll," right? And basically, puts him back in his civilized place. So here, it's a flip. We have this guy, Big Softy, Jason, who's basically selling a razor that is like made for brothers. This is a weird commercial. It's a really, really weird commercial. Where are those bumps, by the way? And he's so human. He's got braces. Take us back, America. Take us back. We were just kidding. Firemen use our razors. Why if they wanted to do, like there's 6 videos about the bumps. Look at that guy's eye. That's weird. There's 6 videos about the bumps. Why didn't they just do one with like this cat right here? And why didn't they just make him the fireman? I think it's because it's a reverse troll. That's what I think. Reverse troll. So I wanted to, in the realm of commercials, this thing crossed my path today. Talk about programming. Let me share this with you. Check this out. Okay, this is on Twitter. So Volvo is recruiting. On the right, we have the Volvo recruitment tweet from Poland. On the left, we have the Volvo recruitment tweet for the USA. Focus on your career or your family? Question mark. From now on, you can do both at Volvo. Because we offer employees within the EMEA region 6 months of paid parental leave, regardless of gender. Read our full story here. And they're basically pitching the same thing in Poland, only they got a different idea of what family is. The question is, if they're trying to really promote Volvo and the attributes of working there, selling points, why didn't they just take this family? How many same-sex families are there in the United States? Question mark. Probably, even though the media would like you to think that, you know, everybody is jumping off and moving into same-sex marriages or mixed marriages or whatever. That's really not the case. The numbers are not as great as you would think, and yet this is what they're promoting. Now, I'm betting, even though I cannot read Polish, I'm betting, let me just see, regardless of gender. Would that be in here? So I'm wondering if they're saying the same thing in Poland or in Polish, regardless of gender. And by the way, in Poland, a little boy driving that Volvo, United States, sorry. This is such a cliche, right? Such a cliche. I wonder if he uses the Gillette for bumps whenever he shaves. Looks like he might have some bump issues. Just a little programming, a little more programming for your Friday afternoon. I saw, I was like, wow, this is interesting. Very interesting. This is what's going on. This is what's happening with our world. And there's a plan. Clearly, there's a plan in place. For now. For now. Okay. All right. Let me check in with you guys. What time is it? It's 1:51. We started at what, 12, about 12:20. So we're about an hour and a half in. I'm going to play you one more commercial. And I'm going to this is a commercial that I started to see right around the Super Bowl. And when I saw it, it was like, you got to be fucking kidding me. All right, let's get out of here. Mr. Jason. All right, so I want you to just think about this for just a moment. If this were role reversed, that if it was a guy with his buds in the car and the girl in the apartment, what do you think would be the hue and cry coming from parties that would be concerned enough to make a loud and vocal complaint? Just remember this. Let me do this one. Just remember this as I begin to share this commercial. This is for the Tiguan. Some of you have seen it. If not, here we go.
Moving in together, it's a mixed bag. It's an adventure. A test. A test that Jeff failed miserably.
Spacious Volkswagen Tiguan. More room means more fun.
Moving in together, it's a mixed bag. New Street shepherds speaking of superseas. It's an adventure. A test. A test that Jeff failed miserably.
Might be one of the most insulting commercials I've ever seen. The best part about that commercial are the comments that were left. The comments are rich. Let me go back. Let me share some of the comments with you. They're funny as hell. Where are we? Oh, darn it. Hold on. Let me go back and find that. All right, here we go. Okay, so we're in share screen mode. The comments are hilarious. So when she moved in, she expected Jeff to change himself to fit her lifestyle. Guess who failed miserably? Not Jeff, for sure. Volkswagen approves of women stealing their ex-partner's belongings. Guy just won a lottery. Jeff got rid of his girlfriend and her VW at the same time. Be like Jeff. Empowered woman, male buffoon. Me not interested in a company that not only cheats emissions tests, but is now engaged in denigrating men. The guy dodged a bullet. Better to stay away from uppity women like that. Is there a follow commercial where she's arrested for stealing his furniture? Oh, well, Volkswagens are for smart women. I'm only a dumb guy, so I'll just have to buy something else. No one can destroy their own company faster than us. Gillette, hold my beer. Volkswagen, educating young men not to marry. Going Gillette, are we? Adding Volkswagen to the list of things never to buy. All I see is him taking off the headset and realizing someone robbed him. Did that woman just rob him? I mean, he had nothing but a virtual reality headset when they moved in together, question mark. Jeff passed this test admirably. Dodged a major bullet there. Be gone, thought. Gamers are indeed the most impressed group. This ad is prejudgeful with gamers or gamers. What the hell? This is propaganda. She leaves him and robs him. But it's okay because he's just a stupid gamer guy. Nice ratio, by the way. Damn it, Volkswagen, I have to boycott you too. I anxiously wait for the next commercial where the oblivious woman who can't get off the phone because she's gossiping about everyone is left by the guy who realizes he deserves better. Of course, that won't happen. Since the only allowable targets of criticism, stereotyping, and the butt of jokes are white cis males, cis straight males. Tiguan, the best a Gillette shaving man can get, as long as his wife's boyfriend is okay with it. So, I just wanted to play a few commercials for you to show you what the depth of the programming is and the deleterious effect that it probably has on their products and their bottom line. You read the comments. The comments are not positive at all. They're not positive at all. Will that affect purchasing? If you're a woman, if you saw that commercial, would you, I'm buying me a Tiguan? Is that really what the net effect for that commercial is? I think it's three creative agencies that are responsible for the bulk of these commercials. And, frankly, they're insulting. We're talking about it. And I'll show you the commercial. So I guess on some level it worked, but not really for the reason I think that they thought it might or would. But again, that's programming, and that's programming going wrong. It's programming going backwards. So we saw the Gillette commercial, the new one, which was sort of the answer to their really poorly planned, executed push to get men to be better men. And that commercial is a troll. We think that that's what they're doing, but really what they're really doing is they're trolling us, saying, ha, 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 joke's on us. Anyway, just a few snippets of what goes on in our media world. So the whole idea, some of you don't watch commercials, some of you don't have TV, it's great. It's a good thing in a lot of ways. And I'm not advocating you run out, but I watch TV, watch sports, I watch movies, pretty much the extent of it, Discovery Channel. So I get to see this stuff, especially on the sports side. What's interesting about the sports side is I see a lot of these commercials that would not be targeted for men that are coming through that sports channel. And it's like, well, what's going on there? Is it antagonistic? Are they trying to flip men? Are they getting the attention of the women that are supposed to be watching the sports with the men? It's an interesting strategy. And I'm not sure it's a winning one. Let's put it that way. But, I see these things. I'm like, this is what's going on. This is what they're trying to quote unquote program. And there's an agenda behind this. And with the Nest, the agenda is let's get Nest into your homes. And then there are kind of micro agendas that are being forwarded in that commercial. Anyway, I just wanted to bring some of that out so you guys could see it and experience it and understand at a marketing and advertising level sort of what's taking place from the most kind of maudlin and theoretically heartfelt, which was to make your home into a nest, to Gillette's attempt to resurrect their image, to the patently absurd and insulting Tiguan commercial. Now, a lot of these companies do not allow for comments when their commercials are on Google. For instance, that Nest commercial, there's no comments there. Comments were disallowed. Gillette comments disallowed. Volkswagen allowed the comments, which I thought was interesting. But they really don't want people barking back at them. And there's a lot of bark in that Volkswagen commercial. Let me just check in with you guys, see what's happening. I play video games with my husband. So 01's having a good time in the chat room today. My face is really red. It's probably the Fit Aid. Let's see what else. Mario Kart. I used to play Mario Kart a lot with my kid. It's big enough to hold your shit when you bail. Yes. Yeah, the guy bought the house and the car, but now he's stuck with the house and the car payments while judge awarded her car. Let's see. I can't believe some of these comments that are being message automatically held for views. I didn't hide that message. Come on. Tanya says, I hate commercials that show men as idiots. Absolutely. How do we know Jeff was the real loser? Exactly. Cato, atoning for their Nazi past. Cato, man, your comments are getting filtered today. I'm having to liberate your comments. I doubt it. Poland is super cozy with Trump at the moment. I'll be there in Florida, though. I'll let you know. Whose kid did they steal and put in the crash test Power Wheels? Let's see what else we have here. There's that redhead. Lots of redheads, right? I, too, am Jason C. I take offense at the softening of my namesake. That's funny. I do not miss cable and commercials at all. Mean Street's right. He can't possibly be a real firefighter. Yeah, I don't know. He probably was. Probably was. He's got that fence in his smile. It's true. Absolutely. Total fence in the smile. Uncle Fester from the Addams Family. You guys get it, man. You guys totally pick up on it. Braces. Someone called the ambulance. He's risking his life daily shaving. You guys are hilarious. Get woke, go broke. This is good stuff, man. This is really good. My dad is a firefighter. Daunting is never a word he would use to describe shaving. Daunting, right? Exactly. I thought that was too interesting too. The use of the word daunting. All right. Hey, listen, it's been great hanging out with you guys today. And going through some of the stuff, keeping it a little bit lighthearted, but at the same time, getting you guys sort of switched on to what's happening out there in the world of advertising and how utterly manipulative, insulting, unintentionally funny it can be. So I'll be back on Sunday night with the Ask for live stream. I got a really interesting thing I'm breaking on the show on Sunday night, content-wise. So you're going to want to hang out and pay attention to that and jump in and be part of the chat room there. And in the meantime, enjoy the intensity of the Scorpio moon. Got to go do something intense. Like, do something intense. In the meantime, use your head to discern what's real, your heart to disable what's possible. I'm Robert Phoenix. Thank you for joining me on the Friday FARcast. And I'll see you guys on Sunday night. Bye for now.